Hello everyone. On March 8, 2014 at 12:42 a.m. Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur heading to Beijing. There were 227 passengers, 10 flight attendants and 2 pilots. Captain Zaharie Ahmed Shah, 53, an experienced captain, and First Officer Farik Hamid, 27, on a training flight. Things were smooth for about 20 minutes, but at 1:08 a.m., the plane crossed the Malaysian coastline heading to Vietnam. Zaharie reported all was well. At 1:19 a.m., it entered Vietnamese airspace and the Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control handed it over to Ho Chi Minh, saying Malaysian 370 contact Ho Chi Minh. 1:29 Goodnight. Zaharie responded with Goodnight MH370. Everything seemed fine, but those were the last words heard. The plane vanished, creating a huge mystery. Breaking news spread, saying MH370 disappeared en route to Beijing, entering the southern Indian Ocean 30 seconds after entering Vietnamese airspace at 1:21 a.m. The Kuala Lumpur Control thought it flew out of radar range into Vietnam, while Vietnam's control saw it enter but disappear from their radar. They tried contacting the plane for 18 minutes with no response. Finally, they informed Kuala Lumpur, but it took 4 hours for an emergency response. By 6:32 a.m., when the plane should have landed in Beijing, it was nowhere to be found. An international search operation started in the South China Sea, involving 34 ships and 28 aircraft from 7 countries. However, there was no sign of the plane. On March 12, it was revealed that though civilian radar lost it, military radar spotted the plane at 2:22 a.m. near the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, not over the South China Sea. Heading west from Malaysia over the Strait of Malacca, the military radar tracked the plane moving north towards the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, totally opposite from Beijing. This news was a real shocker. Where did the plane vanish to? Did it head towards India and crash in the Himalayas or Kazakhstan? A few days later, a new clue emerged from satellite data. It turns out the plane was trying to talk to a satellite automatically. Big planes like the Boeing 777 often do this to make communication easier, much like your phone connecting to known Wi-Fi. The catch was that when the plane chatted with the satellite, it only attempted to log in without sending any info about where it was. The satellite just knew the plane was trying to talk, not its location. But some clever scientists and investigators had an idea. They figured that when the satellite got the message, its antenna would move towards the plane. They used the angle of the satellite's antenna to estimate the plane's location. While they couldn't pinpoint the exact spot, they could say the plane might be anywhere within the big circle you see in white. Each time the plane tried to chat with the satellite, 7 times in total, a new circle popped up. These are called satellite handshakes. Each circle represents when the plane tried to talk to the satellite, with the last one being the most recent. It was a surprise because this last circle covered a massive area. From Kazakhstan and China to Indonesia and Australia, including a vast ocean, the plane could be anywhere within this enormous circle during its last attempt to connect with the satellite. Or maybe even farther than that. This was the final spot it tried to talk. After this, the investigators did some more math. They considered the plane's speed and the remaining fuel and figured the plane could be in the shaded part of the circle, the famous 7th arc. It's 2,000 km west of Australia, covering a big area in the ocean that hasn't been explored much. On the map, you can see where the satellite used for the prediction was located. The outer yellow dotted circle is how far the plane could travel with its fuel in a 7-hour flight. The red curved arc is the 7th arc, where they think the plane might have crashed. After that, lots of search operations were launched. The yellow shaded areas show where they looked, with the orange area being the main focus. By April 2014, surface searches were stopped because finding the plane on the ocean surface wasn't working. It had likely sunk, so deep ocean searches began. This became the biggest and costliest search operation at the time. For weeks, months, and even years, they searched but found nothing. 3 years later, after spending $160 million, they called off the search, considering it a failure. However, there was a bit of good news in July 2015. They found the first piece of debris from the plane on the island of Reunion, east of Madagascar. It was a broken part called the flaperon. In 2018, an American company, Ocean Infinity, signed a deal with Malaysia. They'd search for the plane, and if they didn't find it, they wouldn't charge any fees. No find, no fee. They used advanced underwater vehicles, mapped the ocean floor, and discovered several underwater volcanoes, cliffs, and mountains in the 7th Arc area. Despite months of searching, they also failed. Then, they looked into the passengers' and pilots' backgrounds, searching for any history or signs of hijacking. This led to various theories about what might have happened. Let's explore them. Firstly, they considered how the plane disappeared from the radar. It could be an electrical failure, an accident, or a technical glitch causing equipment to stop. Alternatively, someone on board, maybe a passenger or pilot, manually turned off the transponder intentionally. In the first theory, Captain Zaharie is suspected. Some say he intentionally disabled communication and crashed the plane into the ocean. But why would he do that? Some suggest mental health issues, suicidal thoughts, or even a hijacking or terror attack. Arguments supporting this theory include the plane turning almost 180 degrees from Vietnam back to Malaysia, something the autopilot couldn't do alone. The second point is that the plane flew directly over the border between Thailand and Malaysia, intentionally according to some accounts. To dodge the radar of both countries, the plane might have turned westward. Now, third point is quite interesting. Zaharie had a flight simulator at home. Not uncommon, but he had mapped a path on it coincidentally similar to the path MH370 actually flew. It sounds suspicious, right? However, the official leading the search operation rejected this theory. He argued that Zaharie was a highly experienced and respected pilot with no personal or financial issues. There was no evidence to doubt his integrity, and if he wanted to crash the plane, there would be signs in his behavior or life. So, the second theory suggests hijackers or terrorists were involved. 2 Iranian passengers with fake passports were initially suspects, but it turned out they just wanted to settle in Europe using stolen passports. Interpol confirmed they were probably not terrorists. Now, the third and most likely theory suggests everyone on MH370, including the crew, fainted due to lack of oxygen. The autopilot kept the plane flying until it ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. Possible causes of oxygen deficiency include a cockpit fire or an accident. Some even blame hijackers for deliberately causing an oxygen shortage. One example is the plane entering Vietnamese airspace, experiencing malfunctions, turning back to Malaysia, and then a tragic accident causing oxygen deficiency. The autopilot then led the plane southwards over the Indian Ocean, crashing 2,000 km west of Australia. Initially, there were wild theories like alien abduction, the US military shooting down the plane, Russian President Putin knowing the location, or a new Bermuda Triangle. But these are unlikely. In 2022, a retired aerospace engineer, Richard Godfrey, claims to have cracked the mystery using radio wave technologies. He combined data from the British Inmarsat satellite and amateur radio wave technology called WSPRnet. Using reflections of radio waves, he predicted the plane's path. It's a bit complex, but essentially it detects reflections of radio waves in the atmosphere, helping track the plane's movement. He made a computer program that spots airplane flight paths using weak signals. According to his calculations, today MH370 is right on the 7th arc, exactly at this point about 4 km underwater. Under the ocean, there are cliffs and underwater volcanoes. Yes, This area was already searched in Australia's expensive search operation, but it's possible they missed it. The second search by Ocean Infinity didn't cover this point. Richard is super confident in his calculations, pinpointing the plane's exact underwater location within 40 nautical miles. He suggests a new search within this small radius, which would be way smaller than previous searches. This is a good news for solving the flight mystery. Some criticize Richard's methods, saying they aren't accurate enough, but he believes a one-year operation starting now could prove him right by the end of 2022. He's pretty sure the plane is there. They also did a drift analysis considering ocean currents. If the plane crashed in that area, pieces would flow with the current to different places. According to this analysis, some parts would have reached Madagascar and surrounding islands, and indeed, they have found 27 pieces of the plane on various islands worldwide. This fits well with Richard's analysis, so we might uncover the mystery in the near future. I hope you found this video informative. Thank you very much.